Hey everyone, welcome to episode 53 of the Miami Tech Pod. I'm Cesar and the gang's all here, Will, Maria, and Brian. And we even have a special guest with us, Jose Vargas, the co-founder and president of Healthcare.com. Jose, welcome to the Miami
Hey,
Tech Pod,
Cesar.
man.
Thanks for having me. Will,
Yeah.
Brian, Maria, great seeing you guys.
And, Jose, I know you and Brian, Will, and Maria go back quite a bit. But for the listeners who may not know your story, why don't you give us a little bit of your journey into entrepreneurship and what healthcare.com is, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So, originally from Venezuela, so immigrant like a lot of people here in Miami. Went to high school in Gainesville, graduated there, and then moved to Miami. I went to FIU. And got into the kind of like the .com. I got bit by the .com bug during the bubble years, 98, 99. I did business in college, so I really didn't have an idea what I wanted to do. But, I was like reading the magazines and everybody was like, making tons of money and IPOing and all that stuff. So I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting. So I met a friend that actually had a technical background. He was an engineer, a coder basically, and I had during college I worked at Tiger Direct. I don't know if you guys remember, but they used to sell computers and computer parts online, and I got to work on their website. And I learned, online marketing at that. Google wasn't even around. We were actually at one point negotiating to buy the keyword computer for a month in Google for like, I don't know, like $10,000. And so those were the early days. And, I learned, kind of like how things worked. And I got passionate about it. And with my friend, we ended up starting a online advertising agency. And one thing led to the next. We kind of like, it was a hard going. Obviously, we don't have time to go through all the tribulations here, but we ended up getting clients and a few agencies after things kind of normalized after the .com imploded, and started growing. And we built a team. It was based out of Miami, and I've been always based out of Miami since then. And the company grew really fast and profitable, which is rare these days. I like to learn how to do that again. But we grew, and in 2004, we ran an M&A process, learned a lot, and we sold to a publicly traded company out of Japan. So, that was kind of like, really, I learned a lot through that experience, and growing a kind of like a business from scratch. I didn't know anything about accounting or how that worked or how to build a business. So it was kind of like, stumbling upon, mistakes on top of mistakes until, we learned. And we had that exit in 2004. And then we kept basically rolling that into new ventures. And that's kind of like the story.
and this was mailcreations.com?
That was Mail Creations. Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of like the first company that we incubated.
Jose is a great example of a Miami-made entrepreneur that just like, you would never know he's in Miami building the stuff he's building because he's not going to the events, he's not speaking on stages, he's not parts of panels.
Invite me. Send me an invite. They don't know.
What a diss to everybody. Will's like, Jose's just working.
He's too busy building shit. Absolutely.
That's not 100% true, because Jose has spoken at least twice, I think, at refresh events over the years.
He makes an exception for
Brian,
you.
That's like over a decade ago, right? We're still around, but that's like over 10 years ago.
He makes
when I was cool.
He makes an exception for refresh because for Brian here, but the man's he's like just too busy pumping out hit after hit, company after company, exit after exit. So like I always respect Jose because Miami, there's a lot of folks talking big talk, people on stage and speaking every chance they get. And Jose is a great example of a lot of entrepreneurs that, we have in the community, or, not a lot, but I'm saying there are a number of entrepreneurs that are just busy building, quietly behind the scenes, executing and doing awesome things here. And Jose's always like top of the list whenever I give examples of people that you might not know of.
And Will is on my PR payroll,
Yeah, Will's another one, Mister. I don't have time for the pod.
Right.
It's just grinding it out.
I think it'd be interesting maybe to dive in to. I mean, you built a lot of amazing businesses around like the lead gen space. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that's a little bit of an industry people might not know about. But amazing companies, amazing lucrative companies are being built. How do you feel about this lead gen in general? You fell into that space and you've done amazingly well for yourself. So just maybe dive into that a bit.
Yeah, well, I think that what we got good at is about internet is a great medium to acquire customers, and because you can, it's performance marketing. You can drive intent. You can drive low funnel customers that convert, and if you have a company, you need customers. So I think that we just got good at acquiring the lifeblood of a business, and what better medium than internet. So we got good at at marketing, which is how we started. So right after Mel Creations was acquired, with my partners, we started another agency, but that one was Brokers Web, and we acquired the domain name Healthcare.com, and we kind of saw an opportunity to drive customers for insurance companies, because they were huge, and they were kind of like travel 20 years ago, right? Like very slow adopters, but they were huge companies. So we saw an opportunity there, and we started Brokers Web to drive, again, high intent consumers for health insurance carriers and home insurance and life insurance. And a big category for us was auto insurance. At the time when we started the company, 2007, 2008, all the big players, Geico, Progressive, and Allstate, all those guys were discovering the internet, and we're kind of like there with technology, and we knew how to drive consumers. We understood insurance because we focused on that market and on that vertical, and the company grew. Another one built here in Miami. We went from $1 million in revenue in 2008, and by 2011 we were doing $100 million in revenue. So that was a fast grower. Again, we focused on driving quality, and we had built our kind of like our abilities and our technology to drive massive customers, again, on a performance basis, on high intent basis, and it worked. And again, based out of Miami, we sold that company in 2011 to a couple of private equity firms, and that's when we had some liquidity with my partners, and started People Fund, which it's also another operation that we have. It's a holding company that kind of allowed us to diversify a little bit of our efforts. We come from owner operators and founders, and People Fund allowed us to invest early stage, doing our own early stage investments, and also incubating companies within that portfolio. And a few companies came out of that operation. One, it's AutoWeb, which is now a public company. That's we kind of wanted to copy and paste what we did in insurance in automotive, and that one is a NASDAQ public company. I'm on the board of AutoWeb. We also built a payments company, kind of like a fintech, what they call it now. We're kind of doing like international remittance and bill payments. And Blue Kite also started here in Miami, and we sold it to PayPal. And then out of the broker's web acquisition, we were able to keep the healthcare.com domain, because we thought that we always wanted to build something that's direct to consumer. We were enablers, kind of like driving customers to other brands. But we felt like there is more to be built. Healthcare is huge. It affects everybody. It's 20% of the GDP. It's an ecosystem that needs a lot of technology, because it's behind. So we really wanted to basically have another bite at that apple, to build something that more like a brand, and that's kind of what we did. And we relaunched healthcare.com in late 2014. 2015 was kind of like the first full year of operations, and here we are, still in Miami.
So Jose, I mean, this is an incredible story so far. Incredible, like, kudos, like, pat yourself on the back, man. Like, very few people have accomplished the level of sort of repeat success that you have.
Will has a sound effect for this. I think he can pull it up. There we go. All right, go.
But Brian. so like healthcare.com, that was like a very prescient and like acquisition, right? Because you guys bought that in like 2007, right? Or something
2006.
Like that?
Yeah, we bought it in 2006. Yeah.
Right. And then the Affordable Care Act and the healthcare.gov launched in 2010 or 12? When was that?
Yes, it got enacted in 2008 and launched in 2010. Yeah.
Okay. So then, like, for you guys, it must have been this like crazy like rocket launch of traffic and like also a new skill, right? Of having to learn how do you adapt to this massive influx of demand of people just typing in healthcare.com, and you becoming sort of like the default destination for a lot of people who are going to this thing that was being promoted by the president of the United States, right?
Well, I mean, it wasn't that easy. I mean, actually, I think that at the beginning, yes. I mean, we did get a lot of traffic, but we had to look, we're not the government side. We're a for-profit company. We've been in insurance since 2006. I think that there was some traffic coming into the site when healthcare.gov launched. Obviously, a lot of type in, and we also own like all the healthcare.com or dot. We own the .org, the .net, the .inc, .co, we own all the dots. So I think that we got a lot of traffic, but I think I don't know if it really helped us or damaged us a little bit, because we bought the domain, we trademarked it also in 2007, so we were able to get our trademark because we looked at it as a brand. Mm-hmm. And now having healthcare.gov, I don't know if that really dilutes that brand or not. I mean, I think the cards are still out. I wish they actually changed their name for something else. But look, I mean, I think that healthcare.gov and us, at the end of the day, we have kind of like the same ethos. We want to help people get insured, and the healthcare.gov want people to get insured. And actually, last open enrollment, we sold a record number of ACA plans. So we are actually, kind of working with healthcare.gov for people to get, ACA plans or Obamacare plans, like, and Medicare Advantage. So it feels like, we have the same ethos or something. And I think, the healthcare.gov site is obviously it's been out for over a decade. So now I think people know exactly, if they want to go to healthcare.gov, they go there. And, if they're searching and they happen to land in healthcare.com or one of our other sites, they probably know it's us, or they probably now know we're not a government entity or affiliated with healthcare.gov. But, again, we feel like we have the same mission, which is help Americans get insured and find the right insurance for them.
So, Jose, we recently covered your raise, which you just did an extension to your original, what was it, 180 million, and you added 31.5 million for a total of 211.5 million. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
correct. What are you planning to do with all this money? Other than sponsor the podcast, of course.
Boom.
Who sponsored the podcast? Oh,
You,
yeah.
Healthcarecom.
Could-
Miami
could
Tech
be
Pod,
you.
brought to you by Healthcarecom.
Oh,
The guy
okay.
with $211 million in his bank account
Right.
asks, "Who's paying for dinner?" Come on.
It's not
This is a
Fontaine
great-
Studios.
I'll get you next
It's one of
time. Okay?
mine.
Jose, now you know the real reason behind the invitation to the podcast.
Right. Now I get it.
Wow.
Pay to play. Yeah.
All right. Before
no.
you answer, Jose, do you still have your wallet on you, or is that also missing? Because I just want to make sure that this wasn't like a full shakedown through the.
Yeah. We have the duffel bags here.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, we've been growing the company, growing the team, and the business has we built a few solutions over the kind of like the AI stack, the flywheel, basically the healthcare marketplace, because we started basically generating customers for other plans, for other carriers. Then we're like, I think we can build our own mousetrap, and we started building our own proprietary plans, kind of like an asset-light approach. We started building kind of like ancillary products. That's what they call them, like dental, vision, fixed benefit plans, accidental, short-term health insurance. And, we started, building those products and selling them direct to consumer, and allowing people to buy them in 10, 15 minutes online. And, our direct to consumer sales have gone up like 400% since the pandemic started, because, not only people are going more and more online to buy everything, groceries, what have you, but, insurance. And, we saw a big opportunity to kind of build on top of that direct to consumer stack, build other products like, Medicare, for example. And then last year, we saw an opportunity with direct to consumer, pharmacy, where we can basically dispense door to door, because, just like, we're all now buying all our groceries door to door. Who wants to go to I don't want to mention the name, but like a brick and mortar pharmacy, because you can, if you can also get it at your doorstep. So we felt that there is a huge opportunity to do that. And because we're already having, building all these relationships with our clients with our insurance products, we, for us, it's kind of like, hey, could, you're taking these medications, could we also, send them to your house, or, make it easier for you to get your prescriptions, or, if they're taking some maintenance medications that, they take all the time, high blood pressure or cholesterol or things like that. We thought that we could, provide that solution and also have a better customer experience. So, I mean, there's a lot that can be built. Again, healthcare it's trillions of dollars, and we're like still a really tiny speck. But yeah, we're very happy that and really lucky that we're able to get these new investors, to back us and help us basically build the healthcare player that we want to become. And more importantly, provide a better healthcare experience and a better healthcare product for customers, for Americans.
Insurance is one of these areas that hasn't seen a ton of innovation, right? At the end of the day, you pay a premium and you hope that your insurance covers if you get sick and all that, right? It's a pretty unevolved product in the grand scheme of things. There's been kind of marginal, innovations here and there, but what do you think the biggest opportunity in the evolution of insurance is in the future? Like what does insurance 10 years from now look like, and how will you guys play a role in that?
Yeah, well, insurance is at the end of the day, it's a financial product. So the more that you understand of your customer, and the more that you understand about, what are the needs or the future needs, or kind of like having predictive analytics of of what could happen, I think the better products that you can build. So we're trying to get better at designing products from the ground up that want to solve a niche or like certain pieces of the market in a very good way. And I think technology allows us to dissect basically all the different demographics and build a product that's geared to solve a problem, right? From a healthcare perspective and a financial perspective. And I think going forward, I think how to prevent, right? Because I think health insurance, you use it when you don't want to, right? Because something is going wrong and you're going to the doctor. How can also I think the killer app is like, how can we help you prevent something that's going to hurt you in the future, not because we want to pay less claims, but because you, at the end of the day, if your customers are happier and healthier, you're basically doing something good. I mean, you're kind of like an agent for good. And I think health insurance could become that. Another part is, like, I've been in insurance for over a decade and I still don't understand it. If I had to buy Medicare for my mom right now and she would call me, I would be like, Mom, I can't help you because it's too difficult. There are like 500 plans and 10,000 deductibles, and the menu is just too big. It's too complicated, and it shouldn't be like that. I mean, I think that's why there is a lot of inefficiencies in the system, because you keep stacking things on top of each other, and then you have kind of like an octopus. And I think with the data, with the analytics and technology, this should be simplified. And I think Healthcare.gov kind of wanted to do that, right? And say, look, we're going to have a bronze plan and a gold plan and a silver plan. But even those have they had like a tree of different selections, and there were carriers, different carriers in all states, and open enrollments and things like that. It's got to change. It just can't be like that, because either the whole system is going to collapse at some point, because the prices are keep going up, and people again they're not going to probably get into the right plan for them, and problems are going to arise, and financial issues are going to come. I think healthcare bills is probably the number one reason for bankruptcy in the U.S. And it's one, unacceptable, and two, unsustainable, right? I mean, it has to be a better way to provide healthcare, and I think that's a big opportunity, right? And so again, that's why we feel so excited about this, because there's a lot that can be built, and we're building something for long term now. Now we're older. Now we can think more long term, and that's basically the kind of like the thoughts around the opportunity and why we did this financing round.
I'm curious if maybe you could share with our listeners things you've learned along your career when it comes to when you feel like it's time to sell your company, when it's time for the exit, maybe things you've learned along the way when it becomes like time to position for a sale. I'm lucky enough to call you a friend, Jose, when we were selling Live Ninja, right? And that was going through an acquisition. You were a close confidant to me, giving me kind of tips on how to kind of see things and how to position it for a sale and maybe kind of go through some of those negotiations. So just curious, some insights that you can maybe share with our listeners who are thinking like, yeah, it'd be a dream to sell my company one day. What are some of the things you've learned along the way now that you've done it multiple times?
Yeah, since you're the M&A goat, Jose.
Right.
The M&A goat. I mean,
Right.
I think that every situation is different in every way, but I think that one similar factor is that you have to focus on building value, right? And I think that in some ways, that's what you as an entrepreneur and your team can control. You have a passion for solving a problem, and you say, look, this is what I'm focused on, and I'm going to build value around that, right? And I think that looking back at the companies that we built, yes, they were growing and some of them were, profitable and things like that. But there has to be a technology. There has to be a solution that you're solving. There has to be the value, right? That you have to keep on building at some point. If you feel like, you have an opportunity for an exit or an investment, you'll have interested parties, right? Because you have this value stack that you build in your business. So I think that you have to know thyself and say, look, I mean, I'm focusing on building value, and all day, every day, this is what we're doing in this company. And at some point, if you build enough of that value, and people will know, right? And they either want to partner with you or invest, or opens the door for M&A, right? But it takes a lot of work to get from that point A to the exit. I think one similar factor will be building the value for your ecosystem, for your technology, your intellectual property, and then things will come. But values first.
So, Jose, as we've mentioned, have been building in Miami for a long time. I'm really curious. I'm sure you were told before, move away, or what has really kept you here, and what has been, this moment that now we're having. How do you feel about it all?
Jose's got a lot of "I told you so" moments, I'm sure. In like
the weather keeps me here. I mean, I after we exited Milk Creations, I actually lived in New York. I had an apartment there, lived there for 2 years, kind of like learning, meeting new people, and talking to VCs, and trying to figure out the next steps. When we basically decided to start, Brokers Web, we acquired Healthcare.com with my partners, and started building Brokers Web. I literally, said to myself, look, I mean, if we're going to do this seriously, let's go back to Miami. Why? Because, real estate, leasing an office is cheap, and, labor market was cheaper than New York. And you have really good people here, sales and marketing and technology. And, Miami, it's always been kind of like United Nations. At Milk Creations, we have people from all over the place. We had people from Jamaica and Asia and Africa and Latin America and Cuba. So it feels like home. And I'm an immigrant, right? So it also felt like home. But the talent was here, and I thought that all the ingredients for what we needed were here. And and then we have an airport, and we can fly, right? And meet our clients and meet partners, and then come back and have the kind of like the back to the lifestyle that we have here in Miami. So I always thought that the ingredients were here. At the beginning, I did have to travel a lot. I always joke with my wife, because like the day after we got married, that week, I actually had to fly to California because we had like to meet with clients, right, for a week. So that was my honeymoon. So I had to plan a lot. And obviously now we're not traveling, and I guess that's kind of like the silver lining with COVID. Basically now you don't know where I am. I actually could be in New York or Miami, but I think again, that opened up the opportunity to go in where the value is, right? What are you working on? The team that's around it, the product, the IP. And then I think the geography is out the door, right? Because I think I could be doing the same thing sitting in Palo Alto or here in Miami. And, I've been here 26 years, and I've been in technology for that time. And, I've seen the ups and the downs, and, Miami's always been home. And I always said, hey, what if I move to Silicon Valley, maybe better contacts and, better, opportunities. But, I thought, you could always have both. You could have, Miami, and you could have friends and connections and opportunities somewhere else, without limiting yourself by saying, oh, we have to be, such and such miles from the center of Silicon Valley to be successful. I always believed that, that was kind of like a stigma, and now, you guys seen it, right? You guys seen the growth of Miami Tech. The market has exploded. There's a ton of companies raising, tremendous amount of money here in Miami that are opening up, job openings, 30, 50, 100 job openings. And, so these new opportunities are here in Miami, and it's actually making it tough to hire, right? Because you hire somebody that you wanted, and somebody else doubles the offer, but that's how the market works. And I felt like Miami was always kind of like, getting better and better and better. So like the change happened like slowly, and then boom, suddenly, it took the pandemic for people to realize, all the assets that Miami had. And I have a lot of friends from New York and California that are moving or already moved to Miami. And the other day a friend called me from DC, and he's like, "Hey, I'm in Miami. I just moved." I'm like, "Another one." Like every week somebody's moving, and it's here to stay, because like companies are being founded here, they're being funded here, ton of jobs being created. So it's happening now.
Jose, I'm like super glad to hear you're so enthusiastic about this, and I'm also so grateful that you took the time to join us today on the podcast. I can't wait to have you on again in 6 months when you've sold this company and started another one and sold that one
No,
too.
we don't
The
we're not
M&A
done with
train stops for no one, my friend.
Look, I'm getting too old. Like kids' tuition is like going through the roof. I need to grow this for a long time.
Well, hey, maybe you'll switch over to just acquiring all the other companies in the ecosystem part of that equation. So
Bring them on. I changed my LinkedIn. I have M&A at healthcare.com.
See,
there we go.
Told you. The M&A goat himself.
M&A.
Yes. Jose, thank you so much for joining us on the pod
Thank
this
you, guys.
week.
Have a great Friday.
How can people
Great
get in touch
weekend.
with you?
What?
How can people or our listeners get in touch with you if they want to hear more?
Email me at jose@healthcare.com. That's the easy one. I can't give you the social media because I don't have it. I cancel myself before I open social media. So
preemptive canceling. I love it. Thank you, Jose. Have a good one, man.
Thank you, guys. Great seeing you guys.
Thanks,
All
brother.
right.
Thanks for doing this.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to episode 53 of the Miami Tech Pod, everyone. We will be with you next week for an exciting episode. Take care.